Hello, my name is Elise Lonsdale and I'm from the Palmerston North Toastmasters Club. Earlier this week I completed my second Competent Communication Award, which is a set of 10 speeches people do when they first join Toastmasters. Although I've been in Toastmasters for a considerable length of time, I felt it was good to do one of the earlier manuals again. This award is the first award that I've earned, fully started and completed here in New Zealand. To complete this award, I had to give 10 speeches, the last of which I gave on Monday night, which was an 8 to 10 minute speech to inspire my audience. In Toastmasters, many people give speeches saying how well they've enjoyed Toastmasters and the things they do in the club. As I've enjoyed what I've learnt in Toastmasters and have been able to carry that into my regular life, work, business and teaching, I thought it would be great to do an inspirational speech that I called Stepping Out, where I stepped out of the club environment. Here in New Zealand, it's common for the evaluator to introduce the speaker, not the Toastmaster or chair of the evening. So this video starts with my evaluator introducing me and stating the objectives. Then the speech itself, my evaluator Pat returns after an edit to give his formal verbal evaluation, and then a nice surprise at the end of the video with the general evaluator and her comments. So please enjoy my speech, Stepping Out.
Chair, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, Philippa. Elise Lonsdale has been a member of Toastmasters International since 2014. She has served as club officer, not in one district, not in two, but in 3 districts. Firstly, District 73, covering 3 states of Australia, including Elise's hometown of Victoria. District 17, that covers Western Australia, and now District 72, New Zealand. Currently, Elise is the president of the PN Advanced Club, just down the street from here. She already has an ACS and a CO. Tonight, Elise completes her second CC, Competent Communicator Award. This award will be the first award that she has fully commenced and completed in New Zealand. That's quite an achievement in itself. Being speech number 10, this is of course an inspirational speech that will inspire the audience and show you how Toastmasters can benefit you, not just in the club environment, but outside the club as well. 3 objectives tonight. Firstly, to inspire the audience by appealing to noble motives and challenging the whole audience to achieve a higher level of beliefs or achievement. Secondly, to appeal to the audience's needs and emotions using stories, anecdotes and quotes to add drama. And thirdly, to do all this while avoiding to use notes. It's quite an achievement. Time, Mr. Timekeeper, is 8 to 10 minutes. It's a green light at 8, orange at 9 and a red at 10, please. Please welcome Elise Lonsdale with Stepping Out. Stepping Out. Thank you.
2 years. What an amazing journey! I wrote the introduction wrong because it's actually 12. 12 years ago, I was very shy. I was nervous. And so someone suggested go to Toastmasters. So 12 years ago, I stepped into a room back in Glen Waverley. And in it was a U-shaped set of tables with people congregating around them and one of those things at the front of the room. Madam Toastmaster, Madam Chairman, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I'd like to tell you my journey and hopefully you find some inspiration in that. After 12 years, what keeps me coming back? Well, I see people achieving. I see people coming here just as I once did, feeling a little bit out of sorts, being a little bit nervous, doing the clustering of hands, doing the jelly baby thing and getting all nervous, especially when you've got to get out and do the icebreaker. Wow, what an achievement when people do that. There's several people in this room that I've seen give some wonderful icebreakers, and you know that they're going to do well in their Toastmasters journey. That's what keeps me coming back, seeing them take on roles like table topics evaluator, or even coming up with 6 amazing questions. 6 questions for other people to try and answer. Wow, what an achievement, because you've got to think them up. I'll steal them off the internet. But isn't it fun because people have to respond, and people do that because they feel encouraged. Then there comes time to give an evaluation, your thoughts. Somebody says, oh, Elise, we trust you to give the advice, to give feedback to a fellow Toastmaster. Maybe one that's more experienced than you, perhaps one that's less experienced. That's an awful lot of power to have, because we learn about the CRC. We comment, we recommend, and we commend again. And I shudder to think what my first evaluation was like, and to be honest, I don't even know that I can remember who I gave it to. But I like to think that I've learnt how to do it a little better in that 12 years. Inspiration is what gets me, not the fact that I have to do it, the fact that I'm inspired to do this talk. I'm inspired to be here because Toastmasters is a warm, friendly environment. What's in it for me? Well, lots. Because it's a warm, friendly environment, I like to challenge myself. I don't need to be told, oh, you have to do it. Elise, you have to do it. No one has to do anything. None of us in this room has to be here at all. We could all go home now if we wanted to. But the fact is we don't. Because there's something in it for us. We are achieving just by sitting here listening. We don't necessarily even have to do a role. It's nice that we do roles, and it's nice that when we're asked to step up, that we do. But sometimes it's actually nice to go along to a Toastmasters meeting and just to hear what's going on and kick back. Because whilst you're listening, part of communications, and after all, that's why we're here, communication, much of that is listening. So when you don't actually have a role, you can pay attention to many other things that you may often miss out on because you're preparing your notes mentally, or you're evaluating some speaker, or you're being that little bit of jelly about to step up and do their first speech, or a challenging role. There's no need to be forced into anything. There are no KPIs in Toastmasters. That's what employers do. In fact, I was only saying that to the service manager where I work today. That's what you do, isn't it? And she grinned and laughed and said, well, yeah. So, having said that though, Toastmasters offers you the ability to take what you learn in the club, all here in the club, and take it outside. And that's what my message is to you tonight, to challenge you, to encourage you, to ask you to step out of the club environment and into the big, bad world. For me, Toastmasters has helped me do so much in my regular life. My job would not be as rewarding to me as it is now if it weren't for Toastmasters. I teach people who are not as fortunate as I am to do the things that I like to do, to communicate with their computers. And I do that because I draw constantly on the things I've learned over the last 12 years in this particular club, in the West Australian clubs, and in my own hometown. I had the ability to build a website. I stepped out of the normal Toastmasters program years ago to build a website for my club when websites were sort of rather trendy. And then 5 or 6 years later, social media was rather trendy. So I've taken the Toastmasters program and stepped right out and right up to give the people that I have the benefit of being with a little bit of spice. Some of the other things I've had to do when I stepped out of my Toastmasters environment was I ran a business. And I had a lot of challenges in that business, being vision impaired, working in a totally graphical environment. Who's going to take a blind lady who can do websites seriously in 2004? Well, they did. And the lady who I worked with was a very tricky person to get praise out of at some point, but a year into Toastmasters, even she had to admit that the meeting we ran with a group of school teachers went off rather well, and as a result we got the job, and the association that these people belong to got value for money. Because when you're asking people to spend thousands of dollars on a website, you've got to be good. Teaching. I've not only worked in the teaching environment here, but I've also conducted classes worldwide for people who are vision impaired. I've had people tell me, Elise, you have a smile in your voice. These are people who can't see me because they're on the other end of the internet with an audio-based program that only transmits my voice, not my pictures. After all, if you're talking to a bunch of blind students, they don't want to see your ugly life. So I stepped up to my roles in Toastmasters, then I stepped out. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'd like to suggest and encourage each and every one of you in this room to try just a little bit of that. Because if you do, the benefits will far outweigh any inconveniences. Because I don't thank Toastmasters for what I can do in the club. I do to a point, but I thank it more for what I can do outside of the club. Madam Toastmaster. Charlie, shake your hands.
Thank you very much, Elise. I'm sure we've all learned things that we use every day and don't even know it because we haven't really thought about it. It just happens. The speech evaluations are first, so to evaluate speech number 1, please welcome Pat Devney.
Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guest Philippa. Tonight I'm evaluating Elise with stepping out, and she was stepping out. The first thing I noticed was that Elise was demonstrating contrasting behaviours between a novice and an experienced speaker, all in the same speech. This is something we could all relate to. It's a good way to start a speech. She then moved on to the old what's in it for me factor, appealing to no motives, which was one of the key objectives. Tick. I then noticed that Elise wasn't using any notes. There was no dependency whatsoever. This was the third objective. And this showed, I think, a real leap forward in the flow of her speech delivery tonight. So that's the second big tick. 2 recommendations for Elise tonight. The first one is around highlighting mistakes. And this applies to probably everything we do in Toastmasters. Can't be a green light yet, surely.
Just. I was just about to turn it.
You're
speaking slowly.
Yeah,
Highlighting mistakes.
So highlighting mistakes. The problem with highlighting mistakes is that it robs emotion and means that you have this much more credibility to make up afterwards. Just skip it. It's my advice. Don't bother. Most of the room won't even notice that you've made a mistake. An apology certainly isn't warranted. My second recommendation is around Elise's use of hands. I felt that Elise's hands limited her impact and energy. They were relatively fixed in place. Now this could easily be corrected by using pointing, chopping, collecting, spreading, clapping, counting, or any other deliberate hand movement at any time as appropriate. The thing I liked most about Elise's speech was the inflections in different phases of her speech, in particular where she stepped out and we knew exactly what her point was. This, when combined with her stage movement, enabled her to implore her audience to accept or at least take on board her argument. In summary, an imposing argument, ably delivered using emotion and drama, possibly able to be improved with greater use of hands synchronised with the message. So it is an obvious step up in flow and structure. So well done, Elise, and congratulations on her second number 10.
I'm going to go to Best Evaluator first. Tonight I've got to give it to Kat. So that was really well done. In terms of Best Speaker, I'm going to give it to Elise tonight.